What are both values of x that satisfy x plus 1 over x squared is 4? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is take the square root of both sides, and that would give me plus or minus 2. And then I've got two separate equations, so I'll do them one at a time. The first one is 2, and the next one is minus 2. Okay, now some of you might be able to do this by inspection, but if you can't, not a problem. I'll do it the long way. Get a common denominator. That'll be x squared plus 1 is equal to 2x. And then put everything on one side. And that would be x squared minus 2x plus 1. And I think that factors x minus 1, x minus 1. So there we go. The first one would be 1, the first root. The next equation is x plus 1 over x is minus 2. Again, get a common denominator. X squared plus 1 is equal to minus 2x. Put everything on one side. And when you do, you can factor this one pretty easily. X plus 1 this time. And that means x is negative 1. So both values, one is 1 and the other one is negative 1. Pat squared two different positive integers and added the results. Although Ali did the same thing and got the same sum, Ali's integers were different from Pat's. What is the least possible value of S? Well, basically what they're saying is if you have two perfect squares, let's say m1 squared plus n1 squared, that's all equal to two different perfect squares, the sum of two different perfect squares. So we have to figure out what this is. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to write out perfect squares, and then let's see if we can mix and match here. And hopefully this won't take too long. Let's see, 7 squared, 8 squared, 9 squared. Let's just go up to, how long do we want to go here? Let me go up to 15. And hopefully if I go up to 15, that should do it. I don't know, but let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I think I missed one in here. 100, 121, 144, 169, 196. Sorry about that. Well, let's put 196 here. Okay, so I got to choose two of these, and that when I add them up, it'll equal the S. And then I've got to choose two different ones that also add up to S. Okay, let's see here. Well, 1 and 64 can kind of behave as these guys. So that's 1 squared plus 8 squared. And that gives me a sum of 65. So that was 1 and 64. Now, can you find two of these numbers that if you add them also equal 65? And let's see here. I think these two, the 16 and the 49, that would do it. 16 plus 49 is also 65, and that's the equivalent of 4 squared and 7 squared. So 65 is my S, and that is the answer. Two perpendicular radii of a quarter circle are sides of a square as shown. The length of each side of the square is 4. A line segment connecting midpoints of opposite sides of the square is split into two parts by the quarter circle. How long is the segment's longer part? All right. Well, they've got a pretty good diagram here, so let's just use that diagram. I don't think I need to draw it again. So let's see what we have. The first thing I'm going to do is I will connect this let's see here, the corner. I'll connect it to, from the corner to the edge there, and since that represents a radii, that is 4, the value. And then from the edge to the other edge, from here to here, that's also a radii of that circle, quarter circle. That's also 4. But it's split into 2 and 2 because that dashed line is the midpoint. They tell you that in the question. And then what they're asking for really is the length of from here to here. That's what they're asking for in the question. So that is basically a Pythagorean relationship. We'll call that x, and that should be very easy to figure out. X squared plus 2 squared is equal to 4 squared. X squared, therefore, is 16 minus 4. X squared, therefore, is 12, and therefore x is root 12, or 2 root 3. If n is equal to 0.99 all the way ... 2004 digits to the right of the decimal point, each a 9. What is the 2004th digit to the right of the decimal point in the cube root of n? Okay, so calculators are allowed in this contest, so it's probably possible to get a pattern. I don't know if you can put in 2004 digits in a calculator. I doubt that. But you can put in some of the smaller ones. So let's just start with 0.9, and then the cube root would therefore be 0.965 ... Now let's continue, I should say, with 0.99, and then take the cube root of that guy, and you'll see it's 0.9966, and so on. And then we just keep on going. We're trying to see if there's some sort of a pattern. And then this cube root is 0.999666 ... And then perhaps you can see a pattern, but let's just keep going in case you don't. The next one would be 0.99996666 ... And I'll just do one more, although you can do as many as you want until you see a pattern. But I see one already. And this one is 999966666 ... So as you can clearly see, I hope, is that whatever n is, however many nines it has, so let's say there's x nines, the cube root will be also 0.99, the same number of times, and then a bunch of sixes, but we don't really care about the sixes. Why? Because we just want the 2004th digit. So if x equaled 2004, then this is also going to be 2004. So if the 2004th digit here was 9, the 2004th digit here is also 9. So the answer to this question is 9. How many different points in a three-dimensional space have three positive integral coordinates whose sum is 100? Okay, so you guys remember the coordinate plane, the three-dimensional one, x, y, and z, right? So they're saying that there's some, let's say this is A, this is B, and then we got to do this here. This is C, let's say. So this point right here would therefore represent A, B, C, kind of floating in there in the air. Now, they're saying that they want the coordinates to sum up to 100, so A plus B plus C has to be 100. Okay, well, let's see here. Let's make a little table and see what happens. So let's start with A equals 1. If A equals 1, we have many choices for B and C. It could be 1 and 98. Well, sticking with A equals 1, we could have 2 and 97. We could have 3 and 96, I believe, right? And then you just keep on going like that, sticking with A equals 1, and at the very end you'll get 98 and 1. And this will exhaust all the possibilities for A equals 1. And that is a total of 98, I guess triples, 98 triples. Okay, now let's go to A equals 2, and let's see what happens. Very similar. When A equals 2, you can have 1 and 97. You could have 2 and 96, and so on down, all the way down to the last one, which I believe would be 97 and 1. Okay, so this gives me 97 triples. And you get the point. You just kind of keep going for A equals 3, and then A equals 4, ... And then finally, the very last one would be A equals 98. When A equals 98, it'll just be 1 and 1, and therefore that will only be 1 triple. So to add up all the triples, it'll be 1 plus a 2 plus a 3, all the way up to 97, 98. So basically, it'll be 1 plus 2 plus 3, when you're adding up all the triples, 97 plus 98. And then that's pretty much all you do. And then this can be added up easily. It's 98 times 99 using that formula over 2, and that is 4851. Two boys walking together were 3/8 of the way across a railroad bridge when they heard a train approach at 60 kilometers an hour. They ran at the same speed towards opposite ends of the bridge, each arriving at an end of the bridge just as the train arrived at that end. How fast did the boys run in kilometers per hour? All right, so first we need to understand this question. So let's say this is the bridge, and let's just say 30 meters and 80 meters. And this is where the boys are. So we'll put B for boys. And then way over here is a train that's coming this way. And let's just say the train is initially here. So T for train. So what exactly is the question describing? This is my interpretation, and I hope it's correct, that the first boy, when they see this train, when they hear this train, the first boy starts running in this direction, so he'll go that way. And when he reaches the edge of the bridge, that's when the train also reaches the edge of the bridge, but the train's coming from the other end. And I assume that he can just step off and avoid being hit. The other boy decides to go the other direction and ends up at the other end of the bridge. And when he does, the train then reaches that end at the same time. And I assume same story, he's able to step off the bridge and avoid being hit by the train. So we got to set up equations that reflect that. So here we go. The first boy I'll call B1, and I'll use that speed is equal to distance over time formula. So his speed will be the distance that he travels, which is that red, and that's 30. And his time I'll call T1. Second boy, same story. His speed will be calculated by 80 over T2. And I think that is, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the right way. And then for the train speed equals distance over time. Well, the speed is given. That's at least good. That's 60. And the distance, that I don't know, so I'm going to call it D. This distance here, I'm not sure. And the time, again, the time, well, there's two different scenarios here. There's the first that the train is going from this point to this point. That time would be the same as T1, this T1 right here. Yeah, because the times have to match, because the train reaches that point at the same time that B1 reaches that point, boy 1. And the second scenario is when the train reaches this point. So that distance is D plus 80, and that time is T2. Okay, so I just got to make sure that I did that properly, because that pretty much is the setup of the question. And I'm confident that I did. So S is 30 over T1. S is also 8. Hold on. I think I made a mistake here. It's a good thing that I double checked this. This should be a 50. Yeah, because you're just going from this point to this point. Yeah. So let me put that 50 in there. And then 60 is D over T1, and 60 is equal to D plus 80 over T2. Yes, I believe that is correct. Okay, so now we can move with this. S is equal to this, and S is equal to that, so they're equal to each other. So 30 over T1 is the same as 50 over T2. And therefore, T1 would be equal to 3 over 5 T2. Okay, and then we will use this equation right here. So 60 is equal to D over T1, but T1 is 3 over 5 T2. And then let me isolate this in terms of D. So this would be, if I cross multiply 180 divided by 5, 36 T2 is equal to D. And then I will use this formula. So 60 is equal to D Well, d is this guy, so I'll put in 36t2 plus 80 over t2, and this will allow me to solve for t2. So let's see here, that's 60t2 if I cross multiply is equal to 36t2 plus 80, and therefore 24t2 is equal to 80, and therefore t2 is equal to 80 over 24, so that's 10 over 3. And then what are we trying to figure out? How fast did the boys run? We're trying to figure out this s. Okay, that should be no problem. Well, since we have t2, we can plug it into this formula. S is equal to 50 over t2. So s is equal to 50 over 10 over 3. So that means 50 over 1 times 3 over 10. So that's 15. 15. And I believe it's kilometers per hour is the speed that the boys run.